So I'm only going to do this one time here, show you one time, because I can't record the other 5. So just watch what I do here. I'm just heating the nut up, and then I'm going to unscrew it. Okay, and these are 10 millimeters. I'm kind of surprised because that's such a small diameter nut for something like this. But go Ford, I mean Chrysler. So these are the other bolts we're trying to get at. You can see right here that in the mirror right here, you can see where they are. So those 2 right there. Over here, we have 1 more right there. So we got, those are the 6. So those are all the bolts. You really want to get find a way to heat these things up, you know. That bolt buster right there is what I used. They're not a sponsor, but I highly recommend them. So I use that to heat those up so we can get them, pull them off. And then this here should be free now. The exhaust, so let's try to get that out. So I'm sure to get this exhaust up. Yeah, there it is. Slides right off. Yep, that's our exhaust. And it should just come right out. There you go. And these are all the that's what we've been working on, trying to remove those 4 right there. I mean 6 and those 2 right there. All right.
Hey man, what $1 million for stuff down, man. They trying to run us out of here, man. Taking up prices.
And so it's all pretty much free except for the plug back there. So, you know, just want to kind of slide that off. Okay, that's off. Right. And then we got that right there. Looks like there's some kind of metal. Oh, gasket. Starter gasket, and that's our starter right here. So we just gotta unclip that, and we're good to go. And I can do that one-handed. Yep, I sure did. Wait, and you didn't even see that. Sorry, my moment of glory. One-handed stuff. Okay, that's it. All right, so we got to bench test this, right? Just to make sure that we're not idiots. And this actually is the right thing that failed. That's the original part number in Chrysler, right there. All right, let's bench test. All right, we're going to bench test these. I'm going to show you something. So we have the positive connected to this terminal here. We have alligator clip connected to this connector here. This is from the ignition. Negative is to the body. I'm gonna watch the starter, like right here, right? You'll see it spins, right? And you want to listen to it, you know. This usually is a bit more definitive for failure. Well, I'll show you what I mean. So there we go. Alright, so that's what we got for this, the new one, alright? Let's do the same for the old one. We're just bench testing the starter to see what's going on here. Okay. Alright, here we go. So, we'll watch right there. It's a little crunchy sounding. Alright, so the bearings don't sound too well in there. So that's what we got. So what do you like? Usually, you know, you'd see something, or it looks a little slower in the RPMs for failure. I'm not really too sure now if it's a starter, but we definitely should try to like put it back together the least we can and turn it over and see if it actually turns, you know. So let's just give that a try. All right. This is getting ready to put the starter back, just, you know, so we can start it. And I looked into the ignition part here, and I noticed that it's kind of crusty, corroded-like. See? So we should clean this terminal here, and then we should try to proceed after that. Alright, so I put it back together. It's a really bare minimum. Put the hose back, connected there. This hose was connected, didn't clamp it on. Fluid is still low, coolant, so we just need to turn it on, see if it starts. That's it. And turn it right back off. Alright, let's do it. Alright, this is the moment we've been waiting for. No, that's not good. That's not good at all. Wow, what is going on? This is hard. Alright, so we got the key in the ignition. This is in neutral. Transmission's in neutral. We're going to turn the flywheel and see what happens. Okay, so what I have here is a screwdriver, and I'm just kind of like trying to turn the flywheel. Alright, so what I'm doing now is just going to turn this flywheel with the screwdriver, and it moves, right? But I'm wondering if it's off axis a bit, you know? You can see right here there's some oh my god, here we go. There's some damage right here. Something hit right here. And see that turns. See how that turns? So this turns. I'm not sure why the starter can't turn it. Yeah? Okay, we're back. Let's talk about it. So I charged this battery overnight. This is the one that's in my car. Right? I've never seen this battery brand whatsoever. Right, this is what the client gave me. Now, an engine this big, right, needs a certain amount of amps, the starter. Or you can think of it as like watts. That's just how much work the engine needs. Right? And you need more amps contribute to more watts, right? Watts is taking the electrical energy and turning it into work. So I believe that this battery doesn't have enough cold cranking amps to start this engine, which is why I'm getting a click, right? So I'm going to test the stereo today, and I'm going to show you. Right? I think this is the solution, at least to get it started, and maybe we can get a little closer to figuring out what exactly is the problem, right? So let's take a look and see what we got. Okay, so we're going to use my Foxwell battery tester. Okay. You can see that? Okay. Alright, so some at 12.9 volts, right? Volt system, out of vehicle, top post, regular, cold cranking amps. It says 500 right here. So we're at 500 right now. I'm gonna hit enter. We got a good battery. We got 812 cold cranking amps. You see that? Alright, so let's do the same for the battery the client bought. This cheapy battery. I have no idea what this brand is, but I think this is half the problem. Okay, we're at 13.49 volts. I've just been charging all night, so that makes sense, right? 12 volt system, out of vehicle, top posts, regular, battery type, cold cranking amps. I have no idea what the cold cranking amps on this is. It's not written on the battery anywhere, and I can't find anything about it on Google. That's how cheap it is. Google doesn't even have a price for it. Let's see what it tells us. Okay, it says measured 580 cold cranking amps. Rated 500 cold cranking amps, right? Now yesterday when I did this test, I was at 250 cold cranking amps. Is this battery going to work to turn this over today? I don't know, right? I'm not going to keep on keeping my faith on that one. I'm going to put this battery in so you just get it turned over, and then we'll move forward from there. Alright, let's see what happens. That sounds better, doesn't it? Okay, you can hear it trying to turn over now versus the clicking sound. Alright, well that's a better sound. So put the jumper pack on with my battery, alright? Let's see if that makes a difference. Well, that sounds better. Somebody's having a hard time turning, right? If you look closely, you can see the marks on the alternator where the belt had damaged the outside of the alternator. What occurred was the belt jumped up onto the side of the alternator when the alternator seized, and it just cut into the metal. And that's what we're seeing right here. But I didn't recognize this when I initially diagnosed the vehicle, so there it is. Okay, it's important to document how the belts are routed in this image and the next image. I've documented the belt path so you can see. So I'm going to detension the belt I mean the tensioner to get the belt off. I want to see if the engine will just turn on, as I have a feeling something is binding up in one of these, but I'm not sure which one. Alright, there we go. So that's the tensioner. Right, and you're gonna go like this, push that way. See? Like that. Okay, towards the passengers. That would be, yeah, clockwise. And then you can pull the belt off. Now, the reason why I'm doing that, I want to show you something. Look at this. I just noticed this. Look at how much carnage is on this alternator. See the metal's like... Something happened and that belt jumped there. And I don't know. Basically, something is stopping the engine from turning over. I'm trying to figure out what it is. And I don't think it's power anymore. It's got more than enough power. So, let's try to isolate things. Alright, so you can see what I did here, right? I took just the belt off of the main crank pulley, right? And I checked everything, just making sure they all turn. Hey, see that? That turns. Alright, that turns. Okay, so does this. So does this. Alright. This turns. Okay. Hope you get where I'm going. Yeah, but yeah. Okay, this turns here. You can see it or not. That turns. Right? And here's our final one. Ready? That doesn't turn at all. Wow. We have a seized alternator. Total seized alternator. Right? I'm going to do a really final conclusive test. We're going to turn the engine on just to see if that crank would, if it actually will turn over. So when we turn the engine on, right, only this is going to spin. So we need to make sure nothing is in the way. So this belt is out of the way. That's good, right? I'm gonna tighten that up because I don't want that hanging down on it. Maybe I'll just pull it off. I don't know. Yeah, I'll just pull it off. Just kind of lift it out of the way like that. Okay, so now make sure you have a diagram created for this because it gets a little confusing when you're trying to put it back together. Cool? Good? Alright, you ready? Here we go. I'm going to turn it off real quick if it starts. Yep, there you go. Got it? Alright, so that's the problem. We have a alternator. Wow, that's failed. The bolt that I'm holding here is a shorter bolt. This bolt is from the side that's closest to the firewall. And the next photo, the longer bolt is the bolt that's closer to the front of the car or the radiator. Alright, that's our prized possession. Let's see if the new one looks the same. Alright. Yep, they're the same. See, that one spins. This one does not spin. Alright, so there you go. So this is what happened with the failure, right? You got so you have you have this locked up, right? When it locked up, the belt was still turning from the momentum it had from the crank, right? And then it jumped over here, skipped over here, grabbed this and started to cut into the alternator. You can see it's cut all the way around. And then it jumped back, right? And then once that happened, engine seized up. There's nothing else you can do. That was the end of it. All right, so that's what happened. I got to say, Chrysler, you've done a good job for the win. That was the easiest alternator job I've ever done to date. Okay, so there's two bolts. There's a long bolt that goes on this side. There's a long bolt on this side here. And then you got a shorter bolt on this side. Alright, so here you go. This is how I had to do it, right? I got the long, extra long 3/8 extension on the tensioner, right? I pulled down like this, right? And then all the belts connected below, right? I had to like get this on, so I got it on just a little bit on. This is kind of like partially on. I had to pull back real hard, take the screwdriver and just kind of push it like that to get it to slide onto there. So now it's all lined up and it's done. That's going to be the hardest part, just because it's the nature of some serpentine belts in certain cars. They're a little harder to get on, but that's it. All right, good luck. All right, so at this point, right, right out of sunlight, I'm just gonna go ahead and take this all, put this all back together. You saw we pulled it apart. Just reverse the order. It's real simple now. Just putting all this back in front, and then we'll be able to actually test it. I might test it without the new radiator, or I might test it with the new radiator. We'll see. This is the bracket for the alternator. Put that back on. Just 3 bolts. And over here, right, we're gonna try to solve this plug problem. The radiator fan has a plug, 2 plugs, and they are not easy to come out, as in they break off, making you, if you want to do a good job, you got to replace the entire radiator, which is where we are. So I got this dipped in some hot water, and I'm going to try to pull it out. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, so this is important to pay attention to. These clips, 1 second. 1 second. These, 1 second. These. Okay, so it's been in some hot water. You can see it's steaming. So this is important. This white tab here just locks onto that connector. All right, so you want to make sure that's loose, and then pull it out. Finally. Alright, I'll do the same for the second one, alright? Because these were dipped in water, you want to like make sure there's no corrosional pop-ups. In this container is WD-40. So I just want to spray both connectors. Spraying the other one down here. I'm just trying to minimize any rust from happening, or oxidation. So when you do this job, you want to replace this gasket on the muffler. I thought I ordered it, but it looks like I got the wrong part or didn't order the right part. And then there's a flange gasket here. Like this right here, this donut. I mean, gasket, you should probably replace that too. This is the part number for this Corona. Here's the part number for those 6 bolts that go in there. I'm not gonna try to reuse the ones over there. They were too rusty. So that's the part number, 6503131. So we just want to make sure that these are the same. This is the old one. These are new ones. Yeah, they're the same. That's how they work. And what you want to do is get some anti-seize. Permatech, not a sponsor. And you want to make sure you put a healthy dose on the threads like that before you put them on. You want to put a healthy dose like that before you put them on, screw them in. That way, when you go back in the future to like unscrew this, you'll have a fighting chance without breaking these. So you want to do this to help you out. You know, take a piece of paper, jam the bolt in there. Right? Getting the first one lined up down there is going to be a little bit of a challenge, but you can do it. Put the anti-seize on there. And then you just kind of slide it in. You might want to use a mirror if you need a mirror, just so you get a feeling for where you are. Once you find that hole, you can just screw it in like that. So just repeat that. Just repeat that 6 more times. So these 2 bolts here, these longer ones, could go into here. You should replace them. I thought I bought 2 new ones. I think that's not correct. They sent me the wrong part or ordered the wrong thing. But this is what I have to do, right? Take your brass wheel, just kind of clean them off, and do the same thing with some copper anti-seize. I'm sorry, this is silver anti-seize. Silver anti-seize. Alright, you're gonna coat the threads. Be very generous. And then you gonna get it through. Just gonna turn the flange till it connects with the nut. Well, there's a welded nut on the back of that. Just say that. Same thing with this one. Let's turn the flange till you get lined up. And you just tighten it down. That's it. Alright, so we got a new dipstick. And new one, old one. You want to get a new one because that O-ring, usually right here, corrodes in the engine and it's hard to get it out and it gets messed up. And then you have this O-ring here that's new. So we'll put this new dipstick on. This part number is difficult to read. A901 05D1. Okay, that's the part number. Well, it says location, but maybe the part number is CRC31-L. Nope, that's the part number. Sorry. 4792671AA. All right. So this oil dipstick is a little tricky to find the spot. So, okay. So, see right down in there. Oops, sorry. See right down there. There's a hole right down there. It's a little hard to see. Like this. So here. Right. So that's where you put the oil dipstick. Alright. This dipstick has two bolts. One right here. And there's another one up here. Up here. Okay, whatever. Up here. Right there. But it's missing on this car. Bring it back after it's been idling for a while. But you can see here, actually, before we do that, look at that. It's our main culprit. So it spins. We're good to go, right? Yeah, awesome. Alright, I'll bring you back. I gotta let this cycle so the fan will come on. Need to check and make sure fans come on, no overheating, you know, gotta look for those things to come right on for me. Alright, let's check and see the voltage. So we got a negative over here, positive over, it doesn't really matter. It changes the light of this from green to red, so we're at 13.3 volts, so and temperature it's like half, so we're good. We're not overheating. I'm gonna watch that so it's going down slowly. good. So I hope you like it. It was a good, fun project. Everything runs well. I do know one thing, that I do want you to share it and like it. Or dislike it, I don't care. Just tell somebody. And let people know it's a good source. If you want to know how to remove a starter, diagnose a crank partially, no start, and yeah, how to change belts, a belt, serpentine belt. There's a lot of good stuff in this video. Anyway, this is what I did figure out though. You gotta be careful with that clicking sound. On these American cars, that clicking sound reminds me of what it sounds like on a lot of Japanese cars when starters fail, you know? I gotta be more careful about my diagnosis because, as you can see, it's the starter was trying to turn and the clicking was it rapidly colliding into the flywheel, you know? So, I don't know. Guess you live and learn, right? Learn from my mistakes. Don't do as I do. Only do what you think is best from what I do. Anyway, I hope to see you next video, and thanks for hanging out, and it was fun wrenching with you. Bye.